They try to drown me. I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talkin Jit.
We go raw dog in here, bro.
That's funny.
How was prepping? Did you guys prep?
For what?
I know Andrew does a whole
pans.
camp, right?
Yeah, I did a 2-month camp in prep for it.
What is so? This is interesting because we have two different perspectives here. Because I already know Dave's. Dave's like, we already train, we do the best we can while we're training, so therefore you show up and do your best. For you, I know you do a camp.
Yeah.
What's your outlook on doing a camp? What
So
changes?
so I at blue belt, I just kind of went in blind, hoped for the best, and that didn't really pay out that well for me. And then when I switched teams to ring, it was very professional. I mean, these guys have it down to a science where we're looking at brackets, we're doing film study, we have nutritionists and dietitians and stuff to make sure that everybody's on weight and stuff like that. And so, and the camp is 100% on the individual, right? So I went for 2 months for pans where, we're training very specific situations, and we're, working kind of one-on-one in specific situations during class, right? So we normally do like the normal technique, but then it's like asking questions about upcoming competitors and stuff like that, or issues that I'm having problems with. So the biggest thing that we worked on this time was getting out a lasso guard. I had a problem with that at Pans 2 years ago, and at one of the opens, it crept back up on me. So we did for like a good solid 2 weeks of just working lasso guard, getting out, and kind of how to counter it to the best of my ability. But it's mainly focusing on the strategy going into it, where I know I'm going to pull guard. What am I going to pull to? What's the next step after that? And after that, and if everything goes wrong, what am I going to do in that exact situation? And
Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've won a lot more since I've focused my attention towards getting ready for the competition. And I can feel it too. Like when I do random opens, like I'll sign up for just, a Tampa or Orlando or something like that, and I don't have a camp, I don't feel as confident going into it. Like I'm obviously training every day, but I'm not training twice a day. And, I'm missing a few days here and there. But during the camp, it's, twice a day. We're doing a lot of sparring and a lot of situational rounds.
Awesome. And so how's that make you feel, Dave? You see on that perspective, or?
No, it's definitely a different philosophy, and maybe being a Masters 3 blue belt is obviously a different situation than a brown belt, Masters 1, because maybe it's a lot more competitive. On the other hand, I think the competition is relative to your abilities in that bracket anyway, and so I imagine the difference between me and the next blue belt Masters 3 is probably very similar to Andrew and somebody in his division. And so my philosophy typically is, logically speaking, it's based on a couple of things. So I know that in the past when I've competed and lost, I've basically lost to 3 things. One is being gassed out. 2 is the start of the match, so that's establishing grips and first to take down and first to pull. And 3, just being nervous and fucking having an adrenaline dump. And so my concentration, generally speaking, not even competition related, is on those 3 things. And so I'm always mindful of how do I basically stay calm before the match to make sure I don't have that adrenaline dump when I'm coming into it. And the way I deal with that is because I travel, I drop into a lot of random gyms and open mats that I'm not familiar with. And so to me, I look at a competition match very similar to me being in a strange gym that I haven't been to and rolling with people I don't know. And I do that often on purpose. So like anywhere I travel to, I basically bring my gi and I just drop in. And so I put myself in a situation where I'm like almost competing without competing, which actually makes me calmer when it's time for competition. And then the second thing, I'm always mindful of the grips. And basically it's like, how do I break the grips? How do I establish grips? How do I prevent him from getting grips? And just knowing that the start of the match basically dictates the pace for the rest of the match. And so I'm always kind of thinking about that initial engagement. And then the third thing is just remember to fucking breathe, because, you know, if you don't breathe, you get gassed out.
Yeah, that's where the gas goes.
Beyond those things, like there's really nothing that I can learn in a 2 or 3 weeks camp that I will first of all remember, at my blue belt level, that will help me. And 2 is just I ask those questions at the end of the class anyway that I'm having issues with. And so and then the third thing is like I find that the majority of the people I go against are all the same people that I've already gone against. So,
Masters
once in a
3
while,
is small,
yeah, once in a while somebody new comes in from Masters 2. Like I'm going to Chicago this weekend. I'm flying out tomorrow night, and one guy is a friend of mine that I've already rolled with at Open Gym, and I saw him at Pans. And then there's a new guy that I've never seen before, and he's coming up from Masters 2 because he did Pans at Masters 2 last year. But I just find that like if I start, like a guy named Jake at our gym who basically studies film on all his competitors, like I actually get more anxious because then like I start overthinking that shit. So I'd rather not know than know,
And I think you're at an advantage because you're on the similar training style as me. I train at like 3 gyms, and so I'm constantly getting different looks. I mean, we're all on the same team, but to have that ability, and that's something that when I was competing a lot more before I had my second son, I would do that too, where I would go wherever I was flying out to, I would try and pop in at the gym and stuff like that, just to not only meet other black belts and stuff like that, but to get those different looks. And I think that you're at an advantage that at Masters 3 that I think nobody else is really going to be doing. And I think that's probably why you're significantly better than everybody in your division, because that's a crazy advantage of just getting all of those different looks and learning from different people. That Masters 3 is what, 40?
It's 40. Yeah, it's 40 to 45, I believe. 41 to 45. So
how do you guys handle the nerves? How do you shake them?
They don't appear anymore.
Yeah, you don't get them? You work
no. We just have, I mean, after a while of competing so much, it's just another day. And exactly like David said, when you roll with so many different people and different styles, it's just realizing this is just another round with someone. And that's it. I mean, apart from pans and like the flashing lights and all the noise and stuff like that, I think it's just brush like water off a duck,
For sure.
Yeah.
I would say you got to stay busy with the variety of either unfamiliar roles or regular competition. So like doing opens and doing even like other smaller competitions throughout the year basically keeps the nerves at bay, because you're no longer in a novel situation. It's just another day at the office,
Yeah, for sure.
And what smaller competitions do you think, like at my level, I stopped, I think around purple belt is when I stopped doing like Naga and New Breed and stuff like that just because I'm
Not enough people.
160. Yeah, I'm not. I did it one time at brown belt just because I was there coaching, and I knew the owner of the competition, so he let me jump in, and I still got stuck at 190 to 210 pounds.
Yeah, same problem. I got the same problem. Because
Happened
like
to
I've
me
done
at
a couple of
purple belt.
no-gis, or not no-gis, new breeds
Yeah,
as a white belt, and basically the one time I did it, I went with somebody who was like 170 pounds, and I'm like 145. And the other time it was two 17-year-olds. So it was like,
wow.
and I was like
That's
39 or 40 or some shit, you know.
yeah. I
And
will
then I was like,
say
all right, it's just
AJP.
BJJF only essentially from this point on.
Yeah, I will
Uh,
say AJP in Jiu Jitsu World League, as far as like smaller tournaments go, they run it really, really well. Almost like IBJJF, especially AJP Tour, because they have that Arab money and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but Jiu Jitsu World League, after coaching so many kids and stuff, if I'm never going to a Naga ever again because
hmm
I had a kid scheduled to fight at like 9 a.m. He didn't go till like 5 p.m. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm never
yeah.
doing this again.
That's the other thing is the way those smaller tournaments are run. It's like, especially when the kids are involved, on the
Mm-hmm.
same day as adults, it's like it's a shit show. But yeah, the Jiu-Jitsu World League I heard good things about. Like a friend of mine actually just won that brown belt, the one in Orlando. He's from Hobson Mora, Alex. He might be in your weight class too. I don't know. I think he might be older though. He's like Masters 2
Yeah,
or Masters 3 also.
I'm
I'm
on my
interested in
last
checking that one
year
out.
at Masters 1.
Mm.
So, but I think I'm going to stick with Masters 1. 6 minutes seems like the perfect amount of time because I'm a guard puller, so
Mm.
I have to
Time to
stall.
work. Need time to work.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, we actually literally just talked about that too, about competing down in age.
yeah, because I was telling him because he's getting close to Masters 4. I asked him if he's going to stay in Masters 3, and I always did adult until I did. I just got my brown belt and just decided to go straight into pans last year, and I was trying to figure out how I ended up in Masters 1, but
Mm.
because I don't remember signing up for Masters 1, but I know my buddy he signed me up for Fort Lauderdale. I don't know, somehow I ended up in Masters 1. But I was surprised. I don't feel like Masters 1 was as easy. Like I thought it was going to feel easier going into Masters 1, but it kind of I don't know if it's because of the brown belt or because of Masters 1 is different. I don't know, but the competition level didn't feel as much of a drop off as I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
If that makes
Master
sense.
1 especially, I feel like is you got guys that are 29 that it's their year that they turn 30, so they've been training at adult and especially at brown belt. We've all been at least training for 5 years or something like that,
More
except
than
for
that,
that.
I'd say.
Yeah, one Australian dude that got his brown belt that won Oceania trials in like 6 months, but he's a specimen. Um, but a lot of these guys are coming in, competing and training for 5 or more years. And so coming off of adult for that long, you're going to get some of those guys that are just studs. And then that's where it kind of teeters off around Masters 2, I think,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of just hobbyists, and then you have the outliers that compete all the time like Dave that are just beasts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that especially with Masters 3, that seems to be like the last naturally sane division, because the higher up you go, you start seeing like the dudes, like the fucking old dudes with six packs. It's a whole
Yeah, like
different game.
Megaton. Megaton will compete once a year at adult and win. I'm like, dude's
Yeah.
close to 60 and he's
Yeah.
still cranking it out.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you did adult. That's crazy.
Yeah, he does it. He does it just to get enough points to qualify for, something crazy like the crown or pans and stuff. Where, and I don't know if he's actually fighting. He could be. I guarantee he's probably fighting, but he's probably doing smaller opens just to get the points.
Same with Cyborg, I think, too.
Well, Cyborg's doing the Meow ban right now, so he popped hot with half of Fight Sports at Nogi Worlds a couple of years ago. So I think he's on a 5-year ban, but it's called the Meow rule because once you get USADA bans you from IBJJF, there's 2 ways around it. You can do Masters, which isn't regulated by USADA, and then you can do CBJJF, which is the Brazilian IBJJF. And so you can compete in both. That's what Micah did when he was serving his 1-year ban. He just fought in Brazil. And so...
Interesting. So this is how they bypass it.
Yeah. It's all a gigantic chess game.
So testing is only an adult.
Testing... Well, occasionally. So I did get tested at Nogi Worlds at the podium. But that was the only time I've ever been tested. Now that I say that, they're going to come knock on my fucking door.
What do you spit in the jar?
No. It's just a piss test.
Oh, no shit. Like right from the podium, huh? That's dope.
Right after you're dehydrated and stuff?
Like literally, like I was walking to the podium and some random person came up to me with a fucking clipboard. And I was like, USADA? And she was like, yep. And I went, okay. And they had a curtain and everything. And you
That's
just
crazy.
pissed right there on the floor.
Oh, shit. Someone gave off a tip, bro.
I wish. I mean, they look so inconspicuous. They fit in. So, like,
I bet.
It's like secret shoppers at Target. You don't know, but they're there to fucking snitch on everybody.
That's pretty crazy.
I want to go back to something because of what you were saying earlier, Andrew, with the like the prep and the difference in coaching and the difference between like your normal everyday routine to your camp. Drawing a blank. So I with my buddy who also competed with Dave at Pans, I've been coaching him a lot. And that's one thing we switched up because you've been to our gym once, but like we do a lot of rolls. We don't really take a lot of days where we just drill. Actually, Dave and I were just talking about this before you popped in. And that's one thing I switched up with him is I watched a lot of his competitors' tape. I took down like the common denominators of what I was seeing going on. And we drilled and came up with game plans that seemed to fix a lot of the problems I was seeing in most of the people he's going to go against. And we drilled and then put each other, or I put him into like a lot of, you could basically say specific training, like tailored to that. And I actually did notice a difference. And from sitting this competition out this year, but still being involved in a coaching standpoint, it still felt pretty fucking cool. I got to say, like, it's pretty rewarding.
I'll say coaching in itself and in running occasional classes makes you better because you have to think about it more, right? You have to kind of understand the move set that you're going over and be ready to answer any questions that come up. And I think coaching 100% makes you better. And there are guys that, Danaher, he's not a medal chaser, but he brings all those guys and they win. And then, you've got guys like JT Torres that are still getting after it and still winning, but also running their own academy. And I think there's a difference in having an established coach, exactly what you were doing, and then having a guy that's still chasing the dream, right?
Yeah.
When you look at B Team, they lost their Danaher, right? I think they have one now, a head coach, but those guys were all losing, right after. And I think it's because there was no structure, there was no organization, there was just a bunch of bros just fucking around.
Showing up and rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree actually. I think coaching is a big deal, and in fact, um, if I guess given the choice, but I don't know why you would even have a choice. You can do both. You can drill and you can have a coach. But I definitely miss having a coach in the bullpen. A lot of times because I go compete all the time. I just show up to random cities with like nobody, it's just me, with no team and no coach. Like in Chicago, for example, I'll be alone. But in
Yeah.
Tampa, you and Andy were coaching from the side, and it helped a lot because like what you see from the outside isn't what you see from the inside, and so it's exactly what you're saying. Like as you're basically mid match, you don't want to think. You want somebody to yell something at you, and you don't want to question that whether it's true or not. You just want to go for it, and
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
I learned that from MMA.
That took a
'Cause-
long time for me to work out too, was being able to hear the coach. Now, I stand in for one of my training partners that I've known for about 7 years, and I've got an annoying fucking voice, so he can hear me. But like other guys, like there'll
like
be
Jake.
times where I'll have a coach like at Pans, a year ago. I had a coach and I just couldn't hear him. And then he started yelling, and that's when I heard him. But I still have that problem where the noise just shuts off and I can't hear shit.
Yeah,
So-
no, for sure. And then
I
the
think-
other thing about a coach is you can also have a coach that's not necessarily just coaching, but also competing. Like
Yeah.
the place I train at in Chicago, New Breed Academy on their tag team, the main guy there is Mark Vivas, and he's like a number 3 seed, I think, in his division. But he literally just posted this morning about coaching, and he's like, I'm the type of coach that leads from the front lines because he's also a competitor and he's a coach. And so, the question that he posed is like, would I be better served being on the sidelines teaching people, or would I be better served being the first to sign up for a competition and showing the 50 people that I bring along with me that I'm there in the fight with them,
I
I
feel
think there's a balancing act, and it's very
Yeah.
tough. If you have a guy who's still in it for himself, he's not giving you 100% of the attention, and I think
agree.
that's hard. Is for them to step aside and say, "Okay, I'm gonna lift this person up," and that's the difference between a Danaher and then like I was just throwing the name out there is JT is they have to focus on their own shit. So
that's part of the reason why it's one of the reasons why I sat out this time. I know Pans meant a lot more to Jake to podium and get a medal than it did to me. Because I like competing, and I like to feel like I kind of like to gauge, and I just it feels great to compete. It's awesome, but don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't want to win, but going to knowing how much it meant to Jake and how much I invested in trying to get Jake somewhere and get something good out of it for him, and how much I enjoyed being the strategist rather than, they're like, well, just show up and I'll yell at you. I kind of took it seriously. Like I started watching when I said it, I started like watching all the guys' matches. I started coming into the gym like, how can we get the most out of this session? What do I think is the most important part? What are all these blue belts missing? What is common, not even just techniques,
skills.
but common
The answer is skills.
principles and stuff. But a lot, yeah. And I enjoyed it. It was awesome. It was like
I
a
think
really
that
cool
medal
experience.
is just as much as yours as it is his because of the amount of time, and it shows like he's out there listening to you and your technique. He's just the person implementing it, but it's your
Yeah.
strategy.
For sure.
I really respect your post when I was stalking you earlier. That you just gosh, it was only a few minutes ago but you shouted out the coach, and you were like basically saying this medal is half his, half mine. Because I mean, it gave me a lot of respect for you, because from now I've competed jiu-jitsu, not IBJJF. I've only started IBJJF since I think my first blue belt adventure was IBJJF, and then as a brown belt, I've done only IBJJF. But I haven't had a coach yet. I've always gone just by myself and competed. It is a lot different because at those times where you get lost, like, so this is what I was going to get into, the mental part when you were explaining you guys lose the coach's voice. I have a really low voice and it's really hard for me to get my voice out.
Yeah.
But I used to have a trainer that was just the same, and I had to literally train myself to hear him, but know when I need to hear him. And that's something I worked out with Zach Allen too, is whenever he was coaching me at these other tournaments, I knew when I needed to listen, is like when I started getting stuck or confused. And that's when I would tune in and look for that voice for like hints as to where to go. And it can be a huge difference maker as I'm learning, just to have a good coach in your corner. And it's also cool to know, especially for me and you, Andrew, that being a coach is also fun. So when we get our black belts and we're like in deep water now to compete, it's also not bad to focus on the students. It's in my opinion, I don't know how much medals mean to you or how much the prestige means to you, but for me, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
I don't have anything I'm getting paid for. I'm in fact paying to do it. I want to win and I'm not going to give up, but I'm not doing it to own a gym full of my medals on the wall.
I'll sell you my medal, $139.
No.
Early price.
I looked it up. I looked it up after Pans last year. A Pans medal is only like $18 on eBay.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, so after I lost that first match, I was like,
you
how
want
much
to
is this
eBay
medal?
to check for my shirt?
I was like, how much is this medal worth anyway? Made me feel a little bit better.
You brought it up, and that's something that I don't think at this point in my life, I've always looked at opening a gym as kind of like a retirement thing. Like after I'm done working and stuff, like a side hustle. It's not something that I'm entirely passionate about or dream about. There are guys that are like, once I get the black belt, I'll open my gym and stuff like that. That seems like such a headache.
There's no money.
Like, there's no money in it. So it's like you have to love the sport. You have to love helping people. And I fucking hate people. So
yeah.
Oh man, how do we become friends, man?
Just flirting
it's
all
funny.
the time.
You're fucking with your cable again.
Yeah.
Why you talk so condescending, Dave? I'm about to kick you out of the chat.
Why? Is it the price of the medal? We can negotiate.
What medal? Oh, your pants medal?
Yeah.
That it's bronze. That one's only like, I don't know. I didn't look up bronze.
Right now you're renting it. You don't even know it.
It's still a Pans medal.
I'll have to comp it.
Yeah, it's still a Pans medal.
Yeah,
right?
they are nice looking. I will say that. Huh. So yeah, back to is it still doing the thing?
No, now it's
No,
good.
you're good now.
Okay, it's like I have to sit back with this, I guess. But so you have no intentions of opening a gym or anything?
No. I think, like I said, once I'm older and, I have the kids out of the house and stuff like that, and I'm like done working full time, I think it'll be an option for me. It's always like a fallback. But at this point in my life, I have zero desire, because all of the money's in the kids program. That's like how successful gyms are, apart from, AOJ and Autos.
Yeah.
It's the kids program. And that sounds like a nightmare.
It is.
Having to watch other people's kids. Like, I have a tough time watching my kids. So
yeah, it's literally a daycare.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree. It has got to be tough, and it's got to be tough to scale it, and it's like a revolving door, so you're trying to bring more people in that are walking out. It does seem like a very tough business model.
I drive past 3 or 4 gyms on my way to my gym. And there's so many now. And then you have to deal with like all of the costs associated with it and everything like that. And it's
Yeah.
not, to me, it's not my passion.
Is there any money in becoming a good coach for like MMA guys or something like that?
Oh, there's tons of money in MMA coaching. That's different. That's like, you've got guys like, what's that fucking terrorist name? That coaches all of the Arabic guy that Conor
Ali?
McGregor just called out. Yeah. Like
Is it Ali?
he flies on private jets and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But, you've got other coaches that operate their own facilities and stuff like that. And I think as long as you get a cut of the purse, there's money in it.
Yeah. You really have to be producing, I think, top athletes in order to do that. There's really only again, it's probably an 80-20 rule like in everything else. There's like 20% of the coaches that do like 80% of top athletes.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
you see the same guys over and over again coming out from people's corners.
Or less. And then if someone's looking for a coach, they're probably going to look for like a world champ or something.
For sure.
So that slices down the average guy. Do you guys ever have anyone to talk to you on the mats, like during competing?
What do you mean, like as a coach, or like when I'm fighting? Is the guy going to talk?
Like the guy going against you, talking to you and stuff.
Oh, well,
during the match.
During IBJJF, you're not allowed to.
Yeah, you can't.
You'll get DQ'd. So, but in smaller tournaments, a lot of times they'll, when I was a blue belt, there was occasional shit talking, but that was about it.
Yeah.
What about any funny moments or anything like that? Like any weird submissions or funny moments or times you fucked up?
So we were competing in Tampa, and my boy had hemorrhoids, and he wore a white gi, pulled guard, and his ass exploded. And so, like, all of a sudden, I'm looking in, I see blood appear on his butt, and I'm like, oh
that's
shit,
horrible.
No way. Ref stopped the fight, and he had to run and change his pants real quick.
Dude, that's pretty crazy. Good thing he wasn't in North South
division. Yeah.
I knew that question would be worth it.
That's fucked up.
What about you, Dave? Any funny experiences like that?
No.
Dave went against a blind guy.
He was good. He was strong.
There's that old Disney movie of that high school wrestler that was blind.
Yeah. This dude was actually he's part of Ring.
Oh, that's my boy Eric. Yeah.
No,
he's really good.
No, he was
very good.
Dave, so this is funny perspective. I've talked to Derek about it. So this is Tampa, actually.
Yeah, right? This was at Tampa.
Where we all met. So this is coming full circle. Dave comes out. That guy comes out. They have their match. Dave got the armbar. They go back. It's like, okay, let's go to the podium. Let's get his medal. Let's get out of here. And we're all circled up talking. And then I see this guy going behind Dave with like the stick and the glasses. And I'm like, my jaw just dropped. I'm like, that's the guy Dave just tapped. And I'm tapping my buddy. And I'm like, bro, holy shit.
You didn't see him before?
I didn't see him before.
It's crazy. Because when we came in, I was with Jen. And we're walking by the bullpen. And I'm like, oh shit, Jen, there's like a blind guy over there. And she's like, oh, where? And so we're looking at him. And she's like, oh, nice. Good for him for competing, And I was like, yeah.
He's a beast, man.
I'm like, it's awesome, And then like next thing I know, I'm in the bullpen and they're calling the names. And that's like my guy,
So you knew it walking in there?
I knew it walking in there, yeah.
I didn't even know you knew it.
Yeah.
My perspective was like, oh, Dave just got a quick ticket in and out, and now let's go get that medal. And then the guy you beat is like behind you, like doing this.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude.
Dude, he's a savage. I interviewed him on here too.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a fucking war hero, man. That's why he is blind. He got injured overseas. So.
Yep. And then he had the car accident, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually didn't make it to pants because he was supposed to go against another dude on the other side of the bracket, and so he and I were talking like weeks before pants, and I'm like, bro, I better see you in the finals, you know. And
I
then
think his wife is he. I think he missed it because his wife is a professional CrossFit athlete, and she just signed with like Atlanta.
Oh,
So
that's
I think
awesome.
that's probably what it was.
No, he said his ride didn't make it because he had a prearranged ride, and he's like, my ride basically was like an hour late. And
Oh
yeah,
shit!
because I was texting him from the bullpen. I was like, bro, where are you? You know, I was like, there's a dude waiting for you over here. And then
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, my ride, I'm not coming. Let him know I'm not coming. So
So I'm going back to this year, Pans. I was watching you. Obviously, I was watching the division, and I was watching you, and we've talked about some of the matchups I kind of wanted you to get and live vicariously through you. Um, but one of your matches, dude, you almost lost. In the very last second, you put the burners on.
Yeah.
Are you initially going into these matches just trying to expel as little amount of energy to win as possible?
Uh.
Here's what I'm. Oh, actually, go ahead. I want to hear.
No.
I
No.
don't want
No.
to
You
interrupt you.
finish.
Okay, so in my head, the strategy is because it seemed like the first round was a little bit slow for everybody, including the guys I thought were going to be good, the best in our division. It seemed like everyone kind of got their position installed or held it as long as they could, like stayed under control to burn it out. And which I don't blame you. You got 4 matches to win, so you don't want to blow your wad on the first one. But I think it was your second match. You were losing, and then it was like the last 30 seconds. All of a sudden, you turned up the jets. So
Yeah.
were you holding out the whole match, trying to like think about the rest of the tournament, and then you're like, shit, I gotta hit the boosters right now, or
So
step me
that's
through that?
actually my strategy going into competition is waiting until the very last minute
mm,
to pull it out. I know it drives my coaches crazy. Um, but it's exactly like you said. You'd like to feel out everything and see what's happening.
Right.
Um, and to be honest, in that second fight, I didn't realize I was down so much. Um, I didn't see the scoreboard, and I heard my coach yell that I was down too, and that's when I was like, "Oh shit, gotta pull something out here." I thought it was maybe an advantage, but I had the score wrong in my head. So luckily I heard my coach and my teammates yelling at me, um, to get the last minute submission. Um, but yeah, that's always my game plan is to sit in close guard or half guard and then come up in the last couple seconds and and get an advantage or 2 points.
So what is that? Why that strategy?
It's less energy. A
Mm,
lot of these competitions, even though I'm Masters 1, it's still 3 or 4 fights to win the whole thing. You don't want to burn out. I know my body and how it, you know, where my quitting point is, and so I found it easier and safer. If I don't do anything, I can't fuck anything up. So that's the best way I look at it is, obviously
solid.
it's sketchy going into it, but if I'm trying to pass and I'm terrible at passing, I'm gonna get swept and then I'm down so many points. Versus if I pull and I make them play my game, I know what I'm good at.
Hmm.
yeah, it's actually interesting because that's kind of the thing I'm noticing in the progression of belts. Because at white belt, you're just fucking surviving. It's literally all
Yeah.
defense. And then blue belt, there's like progress and kind of skill building, right? And so you're almost playing jujitsu because your skills are good enough where you're like now doing shit that's actually like within the bounds of jujitsu. It's no longer a fucking wrestling match, you know?
Mhm.
And then like purple belt, you're like good enough to start setting traps. You're kind of seeing the roadmap. And then so by brown belt, you're basically like, not only are you setting traps, you're starting to think about the energy expenditure. And then at black belt, it's literally all fucking slow.
It's a game of inches.
It's all energy expenditure, and it's like, how do I move the least amount with the most progress? It's like, it's crazy how, but it's evident. It's interesting.
That's why you see so many matches at black belt going to 0-0 finishes
one advantage
or an advantage. Yeah,
that's
because
right.
it's literally everybody's so worried about messing up. I think that, or everybody's so good that it's counter after counter after counter.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting is people, I think, by black belt are already used to playing into competition rules, because again, at white and blue, you're playing into the grappling. You're not necessarily into, you're like trying to win, you're trying to submit. But then by brown and black belt, you're basically like, all right, fuck the submissions, like I just want to win. And so how do I win with the least amount of energy expended?
Yeah, and a lot of those competitions, it's especially, you would think at like higher belts there would be less people.
No,
but it's there's the same, if not more, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly like you said, Dave, where you're fighting the same people year after year after year, and everybody knows kind of what everybody's gonna do, and so you have to change it up, or you have to be very strategic with how you implement your moves.
For sure. Yeah. The other thing that I'm noticing is, regardless of which seat people are in, everybody is still a potential risk. Because I've seen people that are like the last seat and they have like 0 points, only because they haven't competed in a long time, or maybe because they haven't competed at all. But they're still like legit. I've seen like bottom players beat number 1 seats. So it's like
at black belt, it's more evident at black belt, right? Is you've got either new black belts, or you've got guys that have been like Megaton, who've been black belts for 30 years. So you don't really know what you're gonna get. At I think brown belt is pretty safe. Is you kind of know that you, like, this guy's been training for a while. They know what they're doing. Purple belt's a wild card where you've got random D1 wrestlers, or you've got like guys that have taken a break and are coming back and competing. And then, blue belt, especially at an adult level, it's all over the place.
Because you have kids
crazy
who are like 10 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's why I wouldn't fight at adult, especially at fucking blue belt. Like,
it's
you've
rough.
got that Helena chick from New Wave. She's
a brown belt, I think, now.
Yeah, she's a brown belt now, but I mean, at trials and stuff, she was breaking black belts off right and left. But that's because she started when she was like
3.
4.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like how you're not allowed down there to coach unless you're a black belt, or like you're married
That's
to
the
one of
biggest
them.
crock of shit
That is
ever.
bullshit.
And
I agree.
I think that's new too. Within the last couple of years,
2 years
it's
for
so
sure.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened to me last year. Is my coach came in and he's like, "Oh, I'm coaching him," and they said, "Well, you're not registered." And he's like, "What do you mean registered?" They're like, "You got to be registered with us in order to coach." And he's like, "I didn't know that," and they wouldn't let him in. So then he jumped the fence, and they caught him like right away. Like, he was not down there very long at all, and they caught him and they brought him out as I was warming up for. I like how we were like first thing in the morning. That's nice, but like I was warming up and he got kicked out and they wouldn't let him in. So I had to kind of handle that solo. And then allegedly he's got like a 2-year ban or something like that.
Damn.
But they're like trying to make him pay to register.
And at black belt, there's so many like roadblocks to register, right? Unless you started and registered at a lower belt, I think it's next to impossible to register as a black belt with IBJJF if you haven't gone through the entire belt graduation process with them. Because I think it's like letters of recommendation, and there's so many verifications and stuff. Because in one aspect, it makes sense, right? You don't want some McDojo with a black belt, which there's tons of those around, but that was a big popular video cycle for a while of guys actually going in and like dojo storming.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Stolen valor.
Yeah, but for IBJJF, they stole that from Jiu Jitsu World League. Jiu Jitsu World League, to be a coach on the floor, you have to be a purple belt, which I think is fair. I think that
makes sense.
It lowers the crowd and allows you to be able to hear your coach. I see the benefits of it, but there's a lot of guys like you, Kevin, that I would be like, I wouldn't mind having you in my corner coaching me and brown belt. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's also strange because you can open the academy at brown belt, but you can't be in the bullpen to coach.
Yeah,
it's kind of bullshit.
It is bullshit because like, I'm sorry, but from blue belt to brown belt, I mean even blue belt to purple belt, there's shit you can coach. Or you and I are both brown belts. Like if I was at a tournament walking around, I'd be like, hey Andrew, you got me? Like I wouldn't, like we could help each other for sure. I just think I don't know. There's a lot with IBJF. Maybe I'm just salty, but I didn't have the best first experience with them.
Yeah, I think it's shitty. It's all a money grab for them, and I think that's one of it is filtering.
Even like
out.
New Breed, you get like a band. Like you walk in, it's like okay, you get a coach, and it's like all right, you got a coach's band. Like you can go sit in the chair right on the mat and coach. And then there's like the whole like getting that seat in that area too. Not only are you on the floor, but you got to get like past people to get in that little row of chairs.
Yeah,
it's a little bit.
That's at the majors where they do that, and the biggest reason is to filter the crowd. And I've said it before. I've went to multiple Brazilian soccer games, and nobody sits in their fucking seat. Like they buy tickets, but they don't sit in their fucking seats. I think
they sit anywhere.
It's just a clusterfuck. So I think that's kind of why they implemented that rule, was to make sure that there's not a bunch of random people. And the other issue is fights. There used to be a big history of people just getting in fights at these tournaments, and I think that keeps that from kind of happening. But no, I think lowering it to like purple belt is fine. Even brown belt, I would be like, okay,
yeah,
that tracks
for sure.
Yeah,
it is impressive what they've built, though. I mean, that organization is like a powerhouse.
It's like a mafia,
multi-million-dollar. I mean, like Gracie, what is it, Carlos or Hickson? That's in charge of it or something.
Carlos, I believe.
Yeah, he's flying on private jets. I walked past him when we were going to the UFC in Tampa, and he pulled up through the back door in a private SUV, and I was like, holy shit, must be nice.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's that 1%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're working there, bro. We just gotta outlive them.
Yeah, that's all.
So this brings me to my next segment of American Jiu Jitsu. I'm trying to bring it back. Let's get that popping, bro.
It's so weird. So I was on board with it with Keenan. I think what he's doing out there at Legion is good. It's all stolen. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was stolen from the Japanese, and the Japanese stole it from, tribes and shit. So, it's always going to be America versus Brazil. And I think now it's even America versus Europe versus Brazil. But at the end of the day, it's your jiu-jitsu. It's your brand of jiu-jitsu. Everybody has their own style and their own personality. and it just all follows under the category of jiu-jitsu. But I'm American, so fucking USA.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice try, bro.
Yeah, I think it's all just jiu-jitsu because it's like it's all regional. Because you can even like claim that Australia's got their own fucking thing with between
Yeah,
Craig Jones and
Australian
Lachlan
jiu-jitsu.
Giles and like all those people.
Or probably even like West Coast and East Coast jiu-jitsu, you know?
There is a difference in that too. I mean, look at AOJ; they have their own style of jiu-jitsu where you
Versus
can
Henzo?
tell. Yeah, you can tell when someone's from AOJ versus when someone's from Danaher or Henzo.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what do you do? Because you got your 4 stripes. So, you think you're going to make it till next year as Brown or no?
It's not my call.
No, it's not. You think you got one more in you, bud?
Don't go on record. Don't do it.
it's
I'm talking.
I've noticed that I've gotten better in just my roles, and like I feel like I'm close, and it feels like 4 stripes. But I don't think when I get my black belt, I don't think I want to compete nearly as much. One, I'm not on the side that thinks, oh, it's cool to go against the people whose DVDs you bought. That's not cool to me because I'd rather win. That's I like winning. So to go into that situation and just get fucked up, that $100-something or the time it takes to prep and get ready for the competition, that sounds like a terrible time. So
I mean, you step out of ring and everything, or
no, I'll still do competitions, but I'll probably stick to the Tampa Open and the Orlando Open, just the Florida stuff. I
No
definitely
majors.
won't be going out. Yeah, I definitely won't be going out to no-gi pans like I do every year and stuff like that.
yeah, that's what you say now. But I bet,
Oh yeah,
what?
I'll
So
probably just still do it just for shits and giggles, but
let's weigh in on this. This is one thing I hear a lot, and I'm going through it with Jake actually right now. Oh, when I get my purple belt, I'm probably going to take a year off before I compete again. My outlook is I'd rather just go right into it.
Agreed.
I got my
rip the
brown
Band-Aid
belt.
off.
I went straight to pants. I'm like, no better time.
I also noticed the difference between, an almost purple and a just purple. It's literally the same fucking thing. I know it's a different color, but the difference is like 1 day apart, right?
Yeah.
Now you might get the guy that's 4-stripe purple and then you're fucked, because he's almost brown.
But that's something that I personally, and I want to know how you guys think of it. I'm supposed to lose, so it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off.
I
Which
agree.
probably makes me perform a little bit better. So it's almost like a little bit of a confidence boost, but it also shows me how much I have to learn.
Yeah, it's almost a
And
free ride for a little bit.
Right? Yeah. If I go in and get smashed by I've only gone against like 4th degree brown belts. Now I think about it, like everyone's had 4 stripes, and it's kind of nice as a newer brown belt going against them and feeling like, oh, this is roughly the expectation of 4 stripes. I feel better personally like that. I'd rather be me in that situation than the guy with 4 stripes going against the guy with 2 stripes who can still get them. It's kind of it goes back to your thing earlier, that Fort Lauderdale trip. I went against Andrew knows him. What's his name? I don't know. He said he was undefeated at brown belt, and he was the number 1 seed. I was 0, like I was the bottom seed. And we went first, and I got him in the first minute. And he's like, "Oh, you're my first loss in a long time." I guess him and Andrew have history. I don't know if you want to talk about him, but I'll just kid. But I'd rather be me because I have nothing to I like the idea if I have nothing to lose. If I beat him, that's awesome. I get like extra kudos. But if he beats me, it's like, he's almost a black belt. Doesn't
Yeah.
count. You know what I mean? What do you think?
That makes me think of, so we had a purple belt doing fight to win, and his purple belt competitor dropped out, and so they matched him up. They gave him two options. One was a blue belt, and the other was a brown belt. And I was like, take the brown belt.
Agreed.
Because if you lose, you lose to a brown belt. But if you win, you beat a brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Exactly.
And it's, the other
Low
side
risk.
of the sword. Yeah, the other side of the sword with the blue belt, where you get snapped off by a blue belt, everybody's gonna make fun of you for fucking weeks.
He's probably after you harder even because he's a blue
Yeah.
belt and he's trying to tap you for sure.
Yeah.
100%. So I guess getting the black belt, I see a couple options. I see the fight to wins, or I see just diving in and trying to close that gap. You might be more motivated than ever after doing like a Tampa or an Orlando Open. You might be like, holy shit, there's a big plateau I got to get over.
Yeah,
might
I
make you-
think it would reintroduce the nerves of competing for me, and
Mhm.
and that's something that I would have to consider when signing up. Is, for me, I don't think I'm gonna learn anything if I get matched up. Just saying Josh Hinger in the first round of Pans and just get fucking guillotined. I know I'm gonna get
Right.
guillotined. What am I gonna learn from that?
Right.
So
There's two types of people, man. And speaking of Helena earlier, I saw her in Dallas when I was with Jake. Every girl in the bullpen in her division lost before they even got on the mat.
Yeah.
Not one of them. Looking at them, they all look terrified. They all look like, oh, I'm going to lose. And then every single one of them went against her. So the first match was these two chicks that were going to go to the finals to go against her. They were going at each other. Like they were trying to win. They were trying to beat each other's ass. But then the next match, that same girl just played defense. Like it was like, I'm just trying to survive. It was that whole type of style, right? And I kind of look at it like, I was telling Jake when I was sitting there, I said, I'm just like, this girl, this is her chance to do good against like the best in the world. She should go all in. She should try. At least she can say, I tried to guillotine the best in the world, or I tried to ankle lock Helena, or I had her in an ankle lock. You know what I mean? And then there's the type of people that I was seeing going against her in Dallas that were going backwards and just trying to survive as long as they could against the best in the world.
Mm.
You know?
Somebody just beat her at Pans.
was
Like
it?
Galvo's daughter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sarah Galvao.
Correct.
Beat her.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was right next to Jake's mat.
Yeah. That was in gi
There.
though, so I don't know how much stuff she does in the gi. So
And that was her Instagram post too. Is she trains once a day in gi, and then
right.
or once a week in the gi or something like that.
I was gonna say once a day.
Yeah, once a week or something like that. But even now, I don't think they have Patrick Gaudio and Jamie Canuto over there from GF team. So
Mhm.
they've got two really good coaches running that program, and then Marigali's there. So you've got all the tools in the world to do gi. I just think their main focus right now is no gi.
Yeah.
Um,
ADCC and all that stuff.
ADCC, where the money is.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think that's the big factor. But exactly like you said, all those people they already lost before they even stepped on the mat because they see the name and they're freaked out.
So you get matched up against Hinger. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do a flying fucking triangle and hope for the best.
That's what I want to hear.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, no,
That's a way better story.
yeah, you get matched up with somebody like that. It's exactly like you said. You've got nothing to lose, so just
Do your
throw out a
best.
fucking YouTube move and hope for the best.
Yeah. Wrist lock.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, imagine getting him in something stupid like that. Like he goes to guillotine you and you like just like jam the wrist underneath your chin. Like it's like...
No, I'm gonna just pull out some gay shit and stick my finger in his butt.
There you go.
Dude, you would go viral and you'd be the guy that the guy that oil checked Hinger. That'd be so funny. Now, see, this is where we're talking, man. We're turning losses into wins, and I love
Yeah,
it.
I win because I got my finger in his butt.
You just gotta win on social
He's-
media. That's it.
I'm not gay. He's gay.
That's
I put my
fine.
finger in his butt. He moaned. Who's the K one in this
That's fine.
situation? Man, what about fight to win, man? How do you guys look at those? It's 1-on-1. You get one match. No reason to stall.
I like the format.
Yeah, I chose not to do it this go round because I was focused on pans. So it lined up with pans this year. But I've done super fights, and it was the fastest, best way I've ever made money because I've won all of them. So
They actually pay. What do they pay?
Yeah.
So Submission Hunter Pro, I made $500.
Oh,
So I
shit.
got kickback for the tickets, and then that's a really, really good organization. Submission Hunter Pro. They are
Interesting.
their owners based out of Dallas, and they came to Orlando. They haven't been back since, but they're on the UFC card, UFC Fight Pass nowadays.
Mhm.
I mean, it's really, really big. But I mean, I tapped the guy in less than 30 seconds with the toe hold. So I was like, this is the fastest money I've ever made. And so that's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then fight to win, you get kickback for the tickets. And I think there's a couple bonuses you can win. And then I think you get submission money too. So 100%. If it didn't line up, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If it didn't line up with pans, I would have 100% done it.
Yeah, you told me about it like a week before. I was like, shit, I always kind of fight to win. But
and they're always looking for higher belts.
Are they really?
Like, yeah. So
that's
like, and Seth, he's he catches a lot of shit, but he's a good promoter and he's a good guy to work with. Where, especially as you're getting closer to the fight, he's checking on everybody and making sure everything's going good. I was coaching kids, not last year, the year before in Tampa, and all of the communication was done with me as the coach and his mom. And so he made sure everything was good and everything was all set with that. So I think those and karate combat nowadays is getting really, really big for submission.
They just based out of Miami.
Yeah. They got the Goat Shed head coach as like their marketing director or something like that. So if there's ever an opportunity to do super fights, I'm 100% on board with it. It does introduce that MMA effect that we were talking about earlier because you're losing on camera. You're losing in front of a big crowd and stuff like that. So
and you're sitting in the back locker room just waiting for your turn. That sucks.
Yeah, the nerves.
That was like, I remember that part sucking so bad.
It's like I'm sure fighting in amateur promotions, it's the same thing where the locker rooms aren't separate.
Everybody's in the same place.
You're sitting across from the guy you're about to roll with or fight with. So
I had it worse in Ybor. There was 2 locker rooms, but the guy I was fighting, his teammate, they put one of his teammates in my locker room, so the coach had an excuse to go in my locker room. So like, and I was like fourth of the night, 5th fight of the night. So as we're warming up and we're hitting mitts and we're game planning and we're like, the coach is in there like watching everything I'm doing. It kind of fucked with my head because I was sitting there thinking, the coach is literally watching my game plan to go out and fight his guy. Like he's watching the punches, the kicks, everything that I'm warming up with. He's listening to my coach tell me what to do and showing the shots. And it kind of fucked with my head because I'm like, this guy's running over like right next door and telling the kid exactly what my game plan is. But yeah, and that on top of sitting in the locker room just waiting for it almost feels like you're just waiting for doom. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, it's when I did super fights, the last one I did was Submission Hunter Pro, but I was like, I think, like, I was so casual going into it, knowing that I was gonna win. I think we were watching like March Madness or some shit,
Hmm.
while the other guy is like stressed out, like sweating, and I'm just like shooting the shit, vaping in the back, and he's just like, he's freaked the fuck out, and then got his cheeks clapped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the mental game. It's like
Mhm.
that's really all you need to worry about is fucking breathing, grips, and being calm, and then everything else will take care of itself most of the time.
Definitely seem to perform better when you're breathing and just in the moment and having fun with it.
You're just there to
They,
play fucking jiu-jitsu. That's all it is.
Did you see the viral clip from this fight to win where the guy snapped his ankle like
No.
defending a takedown?
Yeah, it was
No?
fucked up.
So our buddy Chris, the guy who trains at Substance Supremacy and trains a lot, he took the fight to win. And you're talking about the money and how much they make, which made me think of it. And then I realized that Chris went viral. It was like a fluke thing, but he went for a takedown, and the way the kid's foot hit the ground, it like did one of those like snap the ankle.
Oh, dude, you gotta find and play it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you find it?
Yeah, I'm about to. Hold on.
I don't have my screens linked up, so yeah,
I'll be the Jamie. Hold on.
go, Jamie.
Bring that shit up, Jamie.
No,
We
seriously.
should have done this an hour ago. We could have had this popping even more.
Seriously.
But
Man.
that's what we should do. We should keep doing 3-ways, and someone gets to play
So
Jamie
into
for the
three
night.
ways.
There's the Andrew I invited.
Eiffel Tower.
Andrew, hold up.
I don't know which way the cameras are.
Dave right in the middle. But yeah, it was funny because he made $35 that night, and he said that they
Fuck
charged
yeah.
him 20 to park. So he came up like $15. I think that's funny as fuck. They
Damn.
made him as an athlete. They charged him to park.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
at for jiu-jitsu, it's expected. I think the only ones that Chicago we didn't have to pay to park. Atlanta, everybody's at the airport, so you don't have to pay to park there. Charleston, I think I had to pay, but it's almost expected that you're paying to do this shit.
Oh yeah.
One thing, did you find it?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Going back to like the bumping up, because we're talking a lot about bumping up in between levels and how we think, the difference between white, blue, purple, all that. What, since you've competed a shit ton, what did you do when you prepared to the next belt? Like, say, from your blue belt to your purple and from your purple to your brown, like when you had to go up to the next level, what was your preparation and stuff?
So I've always been at academies where it happens randomly. Like my current professor, Marcio, we call him tight-fisted. He doesn't give out promotions. You earn that shit. So you're constantly evolving and growing and stuff like that. So for me to get 4 stripes on my brown belt from him felt like a massive accomplishment. Because
That's how Legs is. Legs gets it from him.
Well, they're same thing. Legs is under Marcio. So it's one of those things where, and then my professor before Marcio, he never tracked attendance, didn't give shit about that. And, he just kind of threw it at you, threw the belt at you. So you never knew when it was going to happen. And so I've always just tried to get better and work on my own personal growth and development and my own style of jiu-jitsu. And I think that helps is never having that conversation. That's one thing that every jiu-jitsu instructor always says is don't ask about belts. And I think
I just sent it to you on Instagram. Sorry.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I just messaged it
Yeah, I
on
can't find
Instagram.
it. It's my shit slow.
So, yeah, I think just never expecting the belt. It's always just been, I need to get better for the competition, as opposed to I need to get better for a particular stripe or
But then-
belt.
So, so when I went from blue to purple, I went into a new breed, and I was like, I hope I get my ass kicked. That's what I was wanting. Like I wasn't. I hope I win. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so tough. Like I was telling everyone, I'm like, I want to get my ass whooped. I want to like go get some beast ass purple belt and just see what it takes and what I need. And then I did the same from purple to brown. That's basically why I did pans. I'm like, all right, let's see what the best of the best have to offer. And then, I ran into Robbie, but,
No, you
Well,
ran
how
into a
that went.
fucking belt that fell, and you didn't pay attention to Robbie.
You weren't even looking.
I know.
So, yeah, was that on me or is that on what's your opinion on that?
That's
Is that
on
on
you.
me?
Yeah, that's on you.
That's
Yeah.
on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You always
Yeah.
and that's
That's-
something I picked up in the lower belts of competing is I had an armbar at blue belt and I thought he ended up Brazilian tapping. So I stopped.
Hmm.
And so and then he came up and I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And so that's one thing is you always keep, your eye on the opponent and kind of track what, even if you're kind of an asshole, you hold on to that submission a little longer.
Agreed.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I think that's a sportsmanship thing too. Like I think some people have better sportsmanship.
That's
It's
a
a
nice,
fucking
it's nice
asshole
to have.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's an
personally
asshole
would
move.
not. I personally would not have done that in the reverse sense.
No.
I want to be
mean,
straight up.
I'm
No.
a piece of shit, but I'm not gonna hit somebody in the back. It's a gentleman's thing.
Right.
You have to be to do something like that when you're not looking is so shitty. Like sucker punching someone basically
For
in
sure.
an organized event. Like that's fucked.
I would take no pride in that win, to be honest.
No.
And
I-
and those points were like the difference in the points at the end.
How do you celebrate
And-
that? How do you look at your coach and say, I won from a takedown from some guy that wasn't looking? If
Yeah,
I'm a
like, I
coach,
shot
I'm
a-
like, you're a dick, dude. Get the fuck out.
Honestly, he shot like
Score.
a double. He shot that double, and I turned, and I felt like if I had another inch or two, I probably would have sprawled hard enough.
I've
I didn't
always
really-
assumed you had another inch.
Yeah, story of my life. If I had $1 every time I was an inch short, man.
Yeah. You're always 1 inch away from, the success of your life.
Yeah, man. I probably have a better job too. But
Right.
no, I was interested to see because fuck it. But
That's still on you.
it's just I think it's on me, and that was a little bit of inexperience. And I was actually talking to the ref, which I'm not supposed to do. But I also didn't want to let my belt fall, reset, spend the energy to like fight for grips or start setting something up with him, and then hold up, tie belt, and then have to redo it all over again. So
That's
Yeah.
a
talking
part of
about
my scheme, though. I keep my belt loose as shit so I can get that extra 30-second breath.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
That's a good
I
idea.
think
I gotta start doing that.
that's why I hate the green and yellow belt.
Yeah, same.
I mean, part of it is a mental block, but two, at the same time, it's so annoying because it's never the right size. And, we're smaller guys, so it's always like either extra, extra large or like a kid's M4 belt.
Yeah, and so I found a way around it. I basically done an analysis on the most popular gi colors, and blue is the least. And so right now I only wear blue gis because everybody else is
Smart.
basically shows up in white and black.
oh, it's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
I
smart
literally,
as shit.
it's the only blue gi that I have is my competition gi. I actually don't like
Yeah.
blue.
This motherfucker's calculated.
Oh, hell
man.
yeah,
That's
dude.
smart. Now
'Cause,
I'm
like,
about to
I-
go change my comp gi.
I'm telling you, I paid attention to like everybody. Like if you look at if you go to Facebook and you look at IBJJF page of people on the podium, it's literally all black and white.
Yeah, I wore the green and yellow belt during
Oh,
pans
I get 'em every
until
time.
the semifinals. So
Yeah,
I
I
was
get
like,
that shit every time.
It's kind of a weird, like, I don't know. I feel like that should be changed. It's weird. It's awkward.
they do it for AJP. They have a red belt, like
Hmm.
Sambo, which
Oh, no
I
shit.
think is good. Yeah. So they have a belt, and you just wear the red belt, as opposed to
Your belt color?
IBJJF, the yellow.
Interesting.
I'd be okay
Yeah.
with if they were like, yeah, you can just wear the yellow and green belt. That's fine. But
Yeah, that's
Or even that strap, you know,
another-
the blue
the strap.
the
around
blue
back,
strap,
right?
yeah, on the foot or something.
yeah,
Just
because it's another grip that you have to. You're at a disadvantage.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
That is
if
true.
they do stop it for belt tying, you actually have a minute and not 30 seconds, so it equals out.
Is it a minute?
Well, I don't know, but a minute.
Oh no! I get what you. Oh, that joke went over my fucking head.
Meaning if they
Yeah, that's smart.
if they force you to do it, you know, it's like you have extra rest time. So it's like it
You have
maybe
to realize I'm friends with Kevin, so I'm half stupid. So
That's funny.
I choose them wisely, man.
Yeah.
That's why we're all here. I got you.
You
Fucking
got that
at
video?
midnight, you know, on a Thursday.
Yeah, you got that video to pull up? What else are you gonna do? Watch hentai?
Well, I'd be sleeping, dude. I'm going to sleep.
Octopus porn.
Can you share your screen in that video or no?
I watched it. I've seen it.
Oh, I thought
I'll
you were
watch
doing
it
the whole.
later.
I thought you were doing the whole digging just to share it on the screen.
Oh, yeah, I know, but you said you sent it, so I couldn't find it.
On Instagram?
Yeah, it's on Under Fight to Win.
Here, I'm gonna send it to Andrew right now.
Yeah, just send it.
There we go.
You on Instagram, Andrew?
Yeah. We'll connect after.
Yeah.
Let me hold on. I want to make sure that I have no tabs open up for this because
Busted.
double
At least
check.
you're honest.
Boom. The hub.
Yeah. Hold on.
It's a camera in my house. He's watching it.
I just hacked into your Ring camera.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, and Dave has a podcast as well called Molo Talk for all the listeners and for you as well, Andrew. So you being a marketer, I don't know if you guys want to connect on that too. But I mean, we can.
Oh wait, I have to. It's not gonna work because I haven't.
Oh, you gotta
I'm
like
gonna have to
restart the
close
program and
app.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, fuck it. I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Next,
I've seen enough
yeah,
of
I
it.
gotta get. I'll get more into this and figure out how to set that all up and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it being midnight stuff, man. We could start wrapping it up. I appreciate you guys coming on and talking
Yeah.
about your experiences and shit. It's always
No,
fun.
it's nice. I think we should do this again with Dave, and I don't
I'm
have to look
down.
at your stupid fucking face all the time.
Oh, you just wait till I come over there, buddy.
It's funny.
I want you to come.
And I'm gonna just roll with everybody else. That's what I keep doing.
That's exactly what happened when I went to your academy. Was I ended up rolling with fucking every single person but you.
That's funny.
Dude, I thought it was gonna be because first of all, most people are full of shit, right? So I always have a bigger respect for people who follow through. Someone's like, I'm gonna be there, some small shit, like I'm gonna be there, and they show up, or like, yeah, I'm down, and they come through. Like it shows me that I gain a lot more respect for people who do that than the people who say yes, but never that like waste my time. Like I told you about a guy I wanted as a guest. I had a really cool idea I'm saving for someone else, but he kept saying yes, I'm down, oh for sure, but it kept canceling. And then it puts me in that fucking position of like, do I keep trying with this guy? Or is he blatantly lying? Or is he just being nice? Like, just tell me to fuck off so I can move on, and save my time. So that being said, when I was talking shit to you and you said you're going to show up, I just thought you're talking shit back a little bit. And then when you said you're on the way, I'm like, oh, he might be on the way, but he might be bullshitting. And then when you actually showed up, so I went and trained earlier that day, and then I came back in because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, can't. I thought we were going to get teamed up the whole time. Dude, I would not have been surprised if they put us in the middle and everyone sat and watched. And I had
That's
to
what
like
I thought.
defend the
I
defend the
honestly
gym or
thought that's
something.
what Legs was gonna do. Was I didn't think I was gonna roll with him first, so that threw me off because I was like,
Mhm.
this model, handsome, 6'3" motherfucker's about to drop his nutsack on my face. So that was fun. But then I was like, oh, then I'll go with Kevin and it'll be all good. Then I got matched up with like 6 other people, and I'm like, well, fuck. I came here to see Kevin, but it ended up being a really good time, and I think it's awesome. And this is another reason why I think we've been friends. Besides us kind of being on the same stupid wavelength, is Legs is pseudo a part of our team, where we've sent guys to Supremacy, and Supremacy has sent guys to us. So that's kind of what, like, that fate of our friendship was. We're kind of on the same team, but we're also not on the same team. And so, and that when you brought up competing at Pans, I think that would have caused issues because I close out. I'm one of those guys that closes out because I think I'm not a drama guy. So I think to fight your teammate or to fight your friend is something that causes unnecessary burden and
Does it?
harsh feelings. For me, I would think so, and I'm an overthinker. So I would be like, if I
Damn.
ended up beating Kevin, is that going to hurt our friendship? And then I would think about that at 1:00 at night when I'm having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, but
So
I mean, I can throw something in there because what happens is if you compete all the time and you see all the same guys, and that's happening with me essentially. Like I'm becoming friends with all of them. So it's like the guy I lost to at last Pans, we're talking all the time now. He's from Toronto. And it's like the guy I lost 002 at this Pans, like we're now
yeah,
friends on Instagram and we're like talking shit about other people now too. So it's like at some
for
point
me, it's
everybody just
just
becomes
business.
friends.
Yeah, for me, it's just business. I don't talk to anybody
Oh,
when I'm in the
interesting.
bullpen. Yeah,
See, I'm the
it's
other way
just
around.
business. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't talk to the person before the fight because I'm like
You're zoned
focused.
in.
Yeah,
Mm.
so that's
Interesting.
not. Yeah, where I'm sure there's tons of guys where on the podium bullpen that I've talked to, and we exchanged Instagrams and stuff like that. But no, it's for me, it's
It's all
my
business, huh?
my friendship parking lot's full.
Interesting. Yeah, but it's casual friendships because it's not
Yeah,
really friendships, but it's like, for
they're
example,
like
like
work friends.
however, like I'd go and drop in somebody's gym when I'm in town and like we'll roll and we'll chill, kind of like you and Kevin. It's like, for
Mhm,
example, like I've been talking to Eric for a while and we might drive out there and basically do some shit. And
No,
so,
that'd be awesome.
but he's in my division, and so it's like the question
Yeah,
is, what's the scope? Like to me, as a Masters 3 competitor, especially, and at blue belt, I don't know, maybe it gets harder and more competitive at higher levels, especially if you're younger, kind of on the medal
yeah,
chase. To me, it's like it's kind of a professional hobby to some degree. Like, yes, I'm chasing wins, but I'm also out there like making friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a different. The way that I look at jiu-jitsu and competing is it is kind of a business for me, where I do have contracts and stuff, and I
Obligations.
have sponsors that I
Okay,
have
well,
to
yeah, see,
fulfill
that's different
stuff
for you.
for. Yeah, so that's why at black belt, when I won't probably compete as much and have stuff that I have to fulfill on my end, it'll probably be like that where I'm a friendly guy, I'm friends with everybody, so I'll probably have that. But for me right now, it's like I have goals that I have to fulfill. So
Got it.
it's like I'm not letting somebody kind of step in my way of that.
Interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, and maybe people find me annoying for doing that. I've never really asked because I just kind of like show up in the bullpen and I start shooting the shit with people I'm essentially going with. You know?
That's something that I think it's it varies by person. You know, playing competitive lacrosse in college and talking to the defenseman, I would never do that shit. If a
Mm,
defenseman came and talked to me, I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up, dude. We're doing something here." You
interesting.
know, like, and I think there are other people like you, Dave, that are open to that conversation and open to talking to people and making friends. But for my competitive spirit, it's like, no, dude, you're trying to take food off my fucking table. I'm not doing
Interesting.
that shit.
See, I look at that whole completely different because even in the business world, like I ran businesses before, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been in multiple industries, and every industry I've essentially made friends with my competitors, literally like people who are
Really?
after the same clients as I am, and
Mm.
and I've always kind of had relationships with friendly relationships, you know, because like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, if the industry grows, that's my outlook. Like if the industry grows, I don't give a shit who they buy from. As long as people continue buying the product, one day they'll buy from them, the next day they'll buy from us. And
Yeah.
if they're not a good fit for me, because typically people buy with people, you know, or people buy
Yeah.
from people. So it's like, because everybody kind of sells the same shit over and over again. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like the only thing that really matters is the way you treat your customer. And so really it's just a
Yeah.
people game. And so like sometimes you're a bad match with the customer. So I'm happy to refer you to my competitor who will take better care of you and you might vibe with them better. And they will do the same
Yeah.
for me essentially. And so like I've always approached competition through the lens of collaborative competition because like we're all in the same space. You know, it's like yes, we're all going after the same prize, really, whether it's money in the business or it's like medals in the competition. But it's like we're all in the same bullpen. And so
Yeah.
if it's not for them, I'm also not getting better. So I might as well like make those relationships. And actually, a lot of times once I've exited industries, those other people gave me other opportunities because we were friendly at one point. And so it's kind of like the strength of weak ties, you know?
Mm.
That's really interesting. And I'm glad that you brought that up because it does change my perspective a bit on especially in a working environment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, with I think it's been about winning for me, and that's probably just a cultural thing for me. Is
Mm,
just the way that I was raised
mm-hmm.
was, you know, this person is trying to take from you as opposed to your perspective, which is we're trying to grow together. And that's something that I've never thought about,
Yeah,
especially in the
Mm.
jujitsu space where you're right. It's without your opponent, you're not doing something.
yeah.
And so
Mm.
I
And
think that's a really, really interesting way of thinking.
yeah, and another layer on top of that is like they're also in the same space as I am. They're also fucking weirded out and fucking anxious, and it's like, but they're also
Yeah.
human. Like I generally not a fan of people. You know, you mentioned like you don't like people. It's like I feel exactly the same. Like I don't fucking feel empathetic. I
Yeah.
all my empathy is typically channeled through logical long gaming, you know,
Mhm.
just naturally. It's like I can't help it. It's just how I'm born. However, like I find that going through a bunch of business sales and kind of my work life, and again, I'm like 44 and I'm fucking like 20 years into a bunch of careers. I
Mhm.
find that people are at like the core of everything, you know, and
Yeah.
these relationships mean more to me than wins because I'm playing the long game. And the
Mhm.
short term is the wins, but the long game is the wins by having more people that know you through your reputation of a better human being. You know what I'm saying? Like I've learned that. That's just
So
me.
let me pose this because this is a situation that I found myself in. Was in Miami. when I was competing, I had to break my opponent's arm. And I did it 3 times because he didn't tap. So
He didn't tap.
he didn't tap.
Oh, no shit.
And the video is gross. Like his arm, I broke his elbow. He left on a stretcher.
Oh, shit.
And so that's one thing that I think about is if I were to build that relationship with my opponent, are you going to be able to, when that time happens where you're deep in a sub and you have to put him out, or you have to break his arm or his ankle,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to get over that hill and accomplish that? Or
Yes.
is that going to be a step back for you
No.
where you're like, I'm not going to do it?
No, I think it's an unwritten, an unspoken rule that if I'm put in a situation like that, I'm not thinking I'm not thinking of you as a friend in a specific situation, even though we might be
Yeah.
friends outside of it, because we're both there for the prize. The other thing that might happen is if you guys were friends, it's possible that he would have tapped. You know what I'm saying? I think by having relationships with people, you break through the barriers of this kind of stone wallness, you know, and you kind of melt certain ices to some degree, which is exactly another reason I'm in the bullpen basically talking to the guys, trying to make friends that I'm about to fight, because if push comes to shove, I want them
To have
to
that
think
grace.
them to think of me as a human being. It's kind of like, you know, if somebody's pointing a gun at you, you basically have to tell them your name. Hey, my name is Dave and I got 2 kids. You literally have to make yourself human, because without the relationship, there's no human element.
Yeah. That's a long con. That is a strategy, man. That is, you know, and I think I haven't thought about that of when push comes to shove, because to me at my competition, they're just a name. You're exactly right, where they are literally just a name and they are preventing me from getting what I need or want.
Yeah,
And so
I understand, and I get why you're doing it. Just my thinking kind of evolved, and I used to think that way too, but my thinking evolved to the point of the long game, even to the degree beyond the initial, you know, industry
interaction.
competition interaction. It's like, if I don't have to break your arm, then that might make you a better human being. That'll make a better world out there for my fucking kids to live in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're all playing the same game too, you know?
Yeah, we're
That's
literally
part of
like
the
in the
game.
same space, man. You know, like if you kind
It
of
goes to show that I think you have more faith in humanity
I do.
than I do. 'Cause I don't fucking
Well, it's like-
trust.
I've gone through the thinking that you've had, where it's basically, you know, nihilism and there's, you know, shit is garbage. You know, people are garbage. And I've gone through a series of you know, bad situations. You know, almost divorce. Fucking, you know, my partner in my business fucking me over, which led to a business sale, and that, you know, a whole variety of things, and that essentially led me to thinking that it's almost kind of like a backdoor into being a non-religious into religion. It's like, I don't believe any of this shit, but it's better to live as if it's true. You know what I'm saying? It's like whether or not, if you think of it as stories, you know, like the meta narrative of, you know, the snakes and all the bullshit, it's like, it's gonna be, you're gonna have a better time thinking that it's actually correct, even if you don't believe it.
Yeah, that's probably why I have so much fucking anxiety, is my distrust for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all playing the same game in my head. I've never known the person before or talked to the person before. I've noticed that in jiu-jitsu, especially, there's people like Jake will go find every one of his opponents and go shake their hand and be like, "Hi, I'm Jake. Hi, I'm Jake." Before at every tournament,
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Shakes their hands, and I'm not like that. I kind of keep to myself. Go in the bullpen, and I don't even look at anyone really. I don't pay attention. I don't really care. I don't know what they look like until we're both walking out. I'm like, oh, that's him. Or sometimes you're walking around, you're like, oh, that's probably someone in my division. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's very interesting that you said you're talking about had I signed up, it might have fucked things up in that degree.
Interesting.
You're saying it would have fucked things up for you mentally if we were on the same side of the bracket, or just like in general?
In general, knowing that if we had to fight, I would have tried to change something and been like, look, we're not on the same team, but we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And see what the ref does in that situation and put it on the ref. And part of it is, and something that Dave brought up is, I'm never gonna fucking tap to Kevin. Ever. He's never gonna catch me. In his submission. He's gonna have to fucking put me out.
but maybe now you will.
Yeah.
And I think that's better. Like, what the fuck's the point of not tapping? Well, like, what are you winning by not tapping?
Oh wait, things just got interesting. What if I come to your gym? Because I'm planning on coming to your gym.
Yeah, I mean, if you come, it's still gonna be, and that's one thing about training is outside of camp, I don't give a shit. I don't drill. I miss warm-ups. I don't give a fuck. I barely go 5%, and especially against lower belts, I'll let them work. And, unless it's a bigger guy where I feel like I'm in some sort of actual physical danger, I don't care. That we're supposed to tap in those rounds and stuff like that. And you don't win anything tapping somebody.
I'm not going to win by points. I know that.
At the gym,
My style is not good for points.
Yeah. So for me, especially with teammates and friends and stuff like that, it's just an excuse to touch other men.
It's funny.
It's funny. Yeah, I didn't know you felt that way, man. You could have texted me that before I possibly fucked the whole bracket up.
No,
How'd I know?
no.
You talked me out of it.
that was my game plan.
I thought by taking that last 16th spot in the division was going to make it so no one had any buys, and I was going to fuck the game up. And you were like, oh, no, they're still going to split it up and give us buys. And that's what told me, like, all right, it's not worth it. Just the troll. I cared about the troll more than I cared about the actual competition.
Part of it was the buy, because I would have liked to buy in the first round. That would have been nice. Right. That's one less fight I have to do. But the main part of it was I didn't want to have to compete against you. And because we are friends. And so that's like the one thing for me is I don't like mixing that side of business with friendship, because, like Dave said, there's been events that I'm like, you can ruin entire friendships on something as minute as a jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah, but I think a friend would tap. That's the other thing.
If you're my friend, you will try to kill me. I mean, then that's the only way I'm gonna win or lose. I'm gonna get better, or it's gonna push me, or I'm gonna get I'm gonna get the most out of the role. You know what I mean? Unless you just fucking steamroll me, and I'm like, all right, maybe you can take.
Yeah, I'm gonna do every fucking dirty play possible. I'm gonna untie your pants. I'm gonna undo the belt. I'm gonna twist nips. I'm going after fucking everything.
You guys ever get the guys?
Like, okay, I got you.
You guys ever get the guys that go to grab the gi and they like pinch your skin with it?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Little like crab claws.
Yeah.
Hit me with some of that.
Yeah. Now take the rest of it off. What?
Yeah. Well, I think it worked out best for everyone then, because I got a really great coaching experience, and I don't know if Dave could hear me or not. I was yelling at first round. Dave was talking about he doesn't like watching, so I watched his first guy.
Yeah, I don't watch shit.
I knew he was gonna go against. I knew exactly how Dave could have beat him. And
I beat him.
It was pretty much. Yeah, I know. I'm saying, like, I knew you walking up there. I said, and I kind of brushed on the way in the car. I said, do not pull guard. Wait for him to pull guard.
I pulled guard.
he's not going to be able to keep you away. Yeah, you pulled guard right away.
That's
Yeah.
blue belt
then you-
though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
not
then-
listening to the coach.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we go through this a lot in our gym. We got all these old guys that just, old dog, new tricks.
Yeah.
But no, I saw right through that game. I knew you would be successful if you
From the
let
top.
him get bored. He would pull guard. He wouldn't be able to stop you. And then if you got to side control, which you did, which is where you got your points,
Mhm.
and then you just kind of stayed busy but took your time after that. And that was the successful part. And then you held on like this is where Andrew would be proud of you, man. You got to see it. He held on for dear life for that.
Fucking
He
2.5 minutes, bro. I ripped his gi. I fucking held him in close guard for 2.5 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Fucking dude, my fingers hurt. They were literally all red all the way to the fucking.
Oh,
And here's a point I came up with from the outside perspective was like once you medal, once you're on the podium, bronze and gold look so fucking similar. You got a decision to make in that match, like because the next match is going to be silver or gold,
Right.
and nobody respects silver. Silver is almost the worst one to put on the wall.
Is it?
once I
I keep
podium.
catching shit.
Yeah. Once I
No one
podium,
respects my silver.
I stopped giving shit.
Yeah, that's how I
Honestly.
feel too. Same.
Once I podium, I'm like, all right, job's done. I fulfilled what I had to do. If I win, even better. If not, who cares?
Especially in a 2-person bracket. Yeah, tomorrow Saturday I got 3 people, so I might have 2 matches or 3 even.
Nothing to lose,
Oh
man.
yeah, you're auto podium.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
See, he's in such a good spot, Andrew, because I was telling this the other day. Starting a company for hanging medals, and every competition he's guaranteed a medal. So
That's
it would be
sick.
really embarrassing if he like was doing all these competitions but posting about other people buying
pretty funny.
medals and stuff. So like he's in the best spot because every single week he looks like, I made this company for a fucking reason, man. Yeah.
That's sick, man. No, that's smart, and that's part of why I have the black and white scheme on Instagram. Is nobody knows if I won or lost.
Oh, that's right.
That's so fucking
Whether it's
funny.
silver or gold, that's great.
Yeah.
That's how I started the
I
page
thought-
too, and then I have featured a bunch of colorful shit. So
Tell him, let's brush on that real quick. Some of your haters. So as you know, and you probably know in marketing, I don't know if you run ads. Do you run ads?
oh me,
No, Andrew.
Oh yeah, yeah.
like
So-
meta ads.
Meta, Google, Bing. Yeah.
So Dave gets nothing but love on
I don't know. I get
ads.
fucking weirdos.
So people are like commenting. Tell them what are some of the stupid things you're getting commented
Bro,
on?
I got like somebody basically said it's a fucking horrible idea. You should close the company. I don't know. It's like random people here. Hold on, let me fucking find this thing.
One's like it's never good enough. All these people, it's like, oh, so we're hanging open medals now because some of his displays are showing open medals.
Yeah,
Oh.
people are like too good for fucking open medals.
And
And people are-
the internet's the worst place, especially with running ads. There was I think I tagged you in one ad. It was like this protein and it was Asian yogurt flavored. And I was like, I'm trying to give you my gurt, bro. And like the poor social media manager had to read that. They were probably like, fuck this guy.
It's pretty funny.
It's like all the people because he's like aimed at competition, right? So like all the people that are hating on displaying their medals are the people that pay, train, show up, work their ass off to try to get a medal. And then you're telling me your best option is to throw it in the dresser drawer?
Yeah, it's
Or-
literally like,
like, you know what I mean?
here, I'm gonna read
Like,
you
oh, that
fucking.
medal's fucking stupid.
I got random comments here. It's like, I'll hang up 3 third place, bronze. Never mind, I'm confused because I lost all matches in my 4-man bracket and still took third. Good night, he's like, show them all in bronze and silver. It's like, okay, great. Somebody's like, my whole wall would be covered if we displayed our kids' medal like this. It's like, okay, fine. Somebody's like, this is so inefficient for people that compete regularly. It's actually a dumb idea.
And that's such a dumb comment because if you compete regularly, you're
Yes.
gonna want to hang that shit up.
I know.
and it's so expensive. Like I think, like I can show that piece of shit
Yeah.
from like
Amazon.
no, it was Hobby Lobby.
Uh-huh.
It ended up breaking, and it cost me like $50 for them to make that shadow box.
Hell yeah.
So like that's awful. But like yours, and Kevin sent me a bunch of pictures and stuff. I was excited when he was telling me, because like I can actually, right now it looks awful. Just all of those just kind of hanging there.
Yeah.
It's a safety risk too for my kids.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I got, again, so it's a weird mix between people like this who post
campaign right
fucking
there.
random comments and then like black belts that basically buy that shit in like
Yeah.
tens of units and then post pictures of their wall and tag trophy wall and say fucking fantastic idea. So it's like
Yeah.
you get the polar opposites.
It's just so funny, like how people go out of their way to hate. But that gave me a good idea, man. We should do like a stupid comments of the week and just start going
That's
over
not a
them.
bad idea, yeah. So
Like a little set where we read about the comments.
yeah, so like
maybe it'll encourage.
this one is great, this is fucking the best. She's like, and it's a girl, It's like, ain't no fucking way this chat GPT slop of a description can make this stupid thing interesting. People hang their medals off of a nail or literally anything else, but there's a sucker born every minute, and I'm sure some dumbass will buy it anyway. I'm like,
Oh, my God.
and then so my response to that is like, someone needs a hug,
Perfect.
It's like
That's the
literally
best
like,
thing.
who the fuck comments like this,
Like the person taking their time to write that whole paragraph out to hate on a freaking metal ad.
It's
They're just
it's
saying,
weird.
So insane.
It's weird.
It's
I mean, it's
funny as
fine. Like
hell.
engagement is engagement. I have no issues with this, and it's not like I'm deleting
Yeah.
any of it. In fact, I want it
As
up.
As a marketer, I would go for that. I would be like, and you do see that. You see successful, like I think Arby's, their Twitter is fucking ruthless.
Oh yeah, I do
Like,
that same shit. I go after people.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the best advertising is just being a crash out,
just a
on,
dick,
on that. Yeah,
Yeah, like this one guy I responded to, like, well, the one that basically said, it's inefficient for people that compete. And he's like, it's a dumb idea. And so I responded, I'm like, what, like mounts for individual medals? I'm like, you can mount your medals any way you like, individually or all hanging from the hooks. Or I'm like, or you can
Yeah.
just leave them in the drawer, literally like framing photos, and he fucking started responding, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were offering unsolicited business advice on a random Facebook ad from a stranger. Cool.
It's great, man. I love it. It's so. You think they're real people?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Not even a
I
question.
don't see why anyone would troll that. So, from a business perspective, does that count as engagement or does it count as negative?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's engagement.
No, it's engagement. That's what you want.
Yeah.
It's when they click on it and then they exit. That's the downside. If they don't buy, then you're burning budget. But the overall engagement, the comments, it's going to spread to more people. It's going to spread to all of their friends, and it's going to spread, and everyone's going to see their comment that they follow. It's great.
Yeah.
But
No publicity. Free
clicking on
publicity,
it.
essentially.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We got into talking about how 50 Cent talking about like crashing out. On the last one, we are talking about how there's the professional business side that kind of brushes it off or handles it all professionally, and then you got people like him who just crash out,
Yeah.
make fun of anybody in his way, prove them stupid.
Yeah, it's literally what we were just talking about
Arby's.
No, not
Yeah.
Arby's. Before we started recording, we were talking about the Paul brothers, like
Oh yeah.
shit basically becoming so ridiculous and them being like douchebags on purpose just to solicit shitty comments to get engagement.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
look at Dylan Dennis. His whole career has literally been built on talking shit and
Yep.
being bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, boys.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a meeting in the morning, but this was fun. Dave, I'll give you a follow. And
Yep.
I appreciate everything, Kevin.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
We'll talk. I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow off camera and set up a gym dojo storm.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, boys.
So it could-
See ya.
See ya.
what arm do you want? You want this one or?
No, I'm just
We
going
gotta-
straight
I
for
wanna
the
get you-
cheeks.
I want to get you over that fear right away so we can move on.
Just come in with a broken arm, you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for doing
See ya.
this.
See ya.
Later.